Hello and welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is a reading for Gemini. If Gemini is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to go beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And look at that Fool card right off the bat. That is pretty amazing. I think we are in for a surprise. We're going to lay out our Dove and Serpent spread here. Wow, really good major arcana, really good fire energy. This is really nice. Path of the Dove looks excellent. Also, if there's anything you need me to pray over, meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Finishing up, Path of the Serpent here. More beautiful cards. Look at that. Fire and water energy. Beautiful. Really, really nice. We're going to do our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to use the Waite-Smith deck. And this is the card that we are going to set aside. We're not going to look at it until the very end. I'll just do a little bit of a shuffle here, and we'll just pick one. Let's just pick one from the middle. Okay. Alien on top. Set that aside. We're not looking at it until the end. And hopefully that card will, tie everything together and, well, give us the confirmation that we need, right? So looking around here, we've got major, 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 major. We got fire, 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 water, water. All water, all fire, and major arcana. I feel like this is really, it's a unique configuration of energy. There's really a lot of very active cards here with all of this fire, with this Fool energy. And we kind of have we have these two active major arcana, fire and air, with the Eon or Judgment and the Fool card. And we have the Empress, which is kind of watery. We have the Hermit, which is earthy. So the major arcana are very balanced. But as far as the small cards, the pip cards, as far as our own energy might be concerned, just fire and water. It's like you've got two modes, on and off, right? You've got a no or you've got a yes. And I think with this Fool energy here, I think we're looking at a yes. I think that even your water energy is kind of starting to say yes, The Fool energy here is really, I think we're in for a big surprise, I think there's something going on in your life that is just about to really kind of shock you. I think that things are changing in a very definite way. I feel like you're someone who really needs the surprises, I think that you enjoy the novelty of life. You enjoy the adventure. I think there's definitely adventure coming. I think that you don't always think of the consequences. Let me just put that in a nice way. You're more about the experience. You're more about living in the moment right now than you are worried, I guess, about what the outcome's going to be later on, What happens after is after. It's still in the future. You're very present. You're very right now. And with this Fool energy, it's not an unawareness, right? A lot of people think the Fool doesn't know that they're about to walk off a cliff. The Fool doesn't know that there's a tiger at its heels or that there's a wolf at the door or anything like this. I think that's incorrect. I think the Fool is aware. The Fool is infinite consciousness, is infinite awareness. The Fool has such an expanded mind, such a transcended consciousness that doesn't really care that there's a wolf at the door, right? Isn't bothered by the tiger at its heel or biting its ankles or the little dog nipping at its legs. Isn't concerned that there's a cliff because it's kind of that Wile E. Coyote thing where if you just keep running, as long as you don't look down, as long as you don't come back to that self-consciousness, you're not going to fall. That's the idea of while you're in the zone, like in a sports or a martial art or any activity, music. If you're in the moment and you're doing it, it could go on forever, and it's just amazing and wonderful. As soon as that part of your mind kind of says, "Oh, I'm doing it," then it's you fall. Right? That's when you topple over on your bicycle. As long as you're just in that moment, in that zone, riding that wave, that's a real concentrated kind of energy. That's a mystical experience, I don't know how many of you are musicians or athletes, even writers and other creative people. Any of the work that you do that you immerse yourself in. Maybe you're a builder, a sculptor. Maybe you work on a computer. Whatever it is, when you're really focused on it, you're just kind of gliding through. Like your body knows what to do. You're not thinking about it. It's like the Last Samurai, Tom Cruise. Great movie. Underappreciated movie. But the reason why he couldn't really get into the Tao of, the sword fighting, right? The way of doing it, the flow and the rhythm of it, was because he was too concerned. He was thinking. He had, the other character said he had too many minds, right? The Fool has no mind. The Fool is card 0. It's undifferentiated consciousness. It doesn't place any value, any greater value on the joy or the sorrow or the positive or the negative or the dog, the tiger, or the cliff in front of them. Just is pure experience, pure being. Okay? And this, to me, represents a real significant change in your life. Now, not that you're suddenly going to be this kind of carefree, wild child, but you're in for a really big shift in your energy. Okay? And this could really be the opportunity for you to transcend in some way. These major arcana are taking you above the fire, water, kind of the everyday kind of opposites, to transcend a level higher, right? To get to this major arcana, the spiritual realm almost. That is beyond the simple duality, the simple kind of choices, the binary world, the on-off switch, right? We're rising above all of that. Now, I don't think it's literally a physical, above in a relative sense, but transcending in the way you perceive this duality, right? The way you perceive the manifested world, I think, is going to change. And with this Fool energy comes a lot of your fiery, kind of impulsive energy. And I feel as if this is exactly what you've been waiting for. When this opportunity is here, when you feel this energy coming in your life, there's going to be no thought about it. There's no other air energy here, right? The mental energy, the air energy that we have here is pure consciousness. This is a clear mind, right? Now, the other side of the Fool, it could be an empty head, right? Or it could be a clear head. It's the same, but different, right? So I think this is really pure awareness, pure experience, pure being. There's no need for any kind of debate or conflict. This is just, you're transcending. You're rising above maybe these petty conflicts and power struggles and these shifting emotions that you might be used to having. They're still going to be there. Right? The path of the serpent here is still going to be part of your life. It's still part of you. But it may be a little bit more in the background. It may not be as significant anymore. Right? It may not be affecting you the way it once did. But first off is the awareness of this Fool energy, this opportunity, this life-changing situation, opportunity. Maybe it's something in your career or your personal life. I don't know. But it's going to make all of these other little troubles seem very insignificant. And you're going to feel this rush of fire energy, a rush of creativity. You might get a little carried away with this energy. That's the Knight of Wands here. Can get a little carried away. Sometimes the horse is leading us, and we're not in full control. And that's okay. That's part of the Fool energy, too, of releasing the need for control. There's no mind here. Right? Wherever the universe is taking you, I feel like you don't mind. Right? Pun intended there. There's no concern. There's no worry. There's no debate. There's no doubt. We're not in control, and that's okay. We don't mind. Because you're surrounded by a lot of these other really, really wonderful forces. Behind you, you have the full force of nature, right? You have the support of, let's say Mother Earth that is just providing what you need. This is the universe, right? Or nature, or the world, your environment, your physical body too. This is a very healthy relationship with yourself and with the world around you, your environment, with nature, right? With the other life around you. Your pets, your plants, your people, This is an understanding, I think, that as separate as we feel from nature, or from anything else, from everything else, right? It's always us with my point of view, my vision, and what I'm looking at out there. I'm in here, everything else is out there, right? The Empress card is kind of giving me this vibe, like that's what's being transcended. Like you're finding this kind of harmony and this union amidst the multiplicity of life. This is an infinite connection. This is like, what do they say about fungi? That they're connected with life in a weird way, kind of almost like a human brain is kind of connected with neurons, that they just kind of, I don't know, something like that. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's this sense of we're all one living, breathing entity, And maybe you don't mind, maybe there is no mind, because we are all universal mind, right? There's no preference for one thing over the other. You're still human, and you still obviously have, I'm not trying to inflate your ego here. You still have challenges and probably difficult qualities about you, right? Nobody's perfect. But you're having this experience of this interconnectedness, about being a part of nature, about, even in your wandering, even in your kind of foolish just journeys and travels and hikes and wanderings and your adventures and your misadventures, you're still a very crucial yet also insignificant part of the whole, right? You're functioning exactly the way nature intended, right? You are pure consciousness. You are experiencing the experience of being alive, okay? And this is it's beyond words. I'm saying nonsense here, right? You know that. It's a feeling that you have. It's this sense of unity that you're going to be experiencing. And it's going to be almost an absence of yourself, right? It's almost going to be this lack of self-consciousness, this kind of no mind idea. And that really brings this feeling of connectedness, And I think this might be taking place in the context of a more specific event in your life, like something career-related or in your domestic life. Maybe this is a new relationship with your career, with your business, with your coworkers, associates, with your employees. But there's a new relationship kind of being started, right? This is really a really major shift in your experience of the world. And what I see from this, we've got this, I don't know where to go first, really. There's so much going on here. We've got this judgment card, right? The Eon, rebirth, reawakening, baptism by fire kind of thing. This is having this kind of experience, having this kind of transcendence, or this kind of religious feeling, or this spiritual experience, is opening up a new door to you, opening up the potential for your future, right? You're seeing things from this different perspective. And I think it really has unlimited possibilities for what you do in the future, for where you go, your goals, your achievements. And I feel like it really is kind of a contrast in some way to this hermit energy. Now, right off the bat, we can say that, look, this idea of unity, of being immersed in the world, is kind of the antithesis of the hermit, right? The hermit is kind of separate from the world, right? But this is kind of that paradox, like when I said you are a crucial part of the whole, but yet at the same time you're insignificant. So you're a staunch individualist, but at the same time you're part of the whole. You're immersed in the world. You're a hermit in a crowded room, and you don't mind. Like there's no incompatibility there. You're able to hold both truths in your mind simultaneously. You are separate from everything, and maybe alone, and yet you are intimately connected with everyone and everything, all of the energy around you. Okay. So it really is this kind of, this conjunction, this union of these kind of opposite ideas, the one or the many, me and everything else. That's what the Fool is transcending, right? There's no incompatibility between being the hermit and being, the universe, the world, being part of the interconnectedness, being part of the unity. And I think that really is where this Fool and this, the Knight of Wands here is rising into, going through this door. This is the door of transcendence. This is the doorway of kind of leveling up, right? Of going up through the ceiling kind of thing. And especially looking at this energy, because the air and the fire go upward, the water and the earth go down. So you're kind of leaving behind this idea of duality, this idea of, am I an individual or am I part of the whole? Is the universe one or is it many? Is there unity in the multiplicity? These are all questions that really maybe take on a new meaning for you, or maybe don't have any meaning at all anymore, right? So I see that your worldview maybe is changing. But I definitely get this feeling that life is not the same. You're kind of leaving back the old life. You're kind of leaving that down here. This is all of those kind of petty concerns. This is all of what seemed so important in the moment now just seem like specks of dust because of where you're going. Now, I'm not trying to be too metaphysical here. I think this has a very practical application. I think whatever work you're involved in, whatever you do with your time, even if you're retired, even if you're in school, whatever your daily toil is, okay? It doesn't have to be what you do for money, but whatever you invest your time and effort into, you're going to be transcending the kind of very basic patterns, habits, concerns, and you're really leveling up. You're really transcending that situation and reaching these new heights, reaching this future that is really unbelievable. And we can't forget about the path of the serpent, because this is one of those paradoxes too, where you're leaving all of this, the kind of petty stuff behind because of this new perspective, because of this transcendence. Your life is changing. It will never be the same, but yet it's kind of going to be the same, you know? We have this Eight of Wands as the link between the path of the dove and the path of the serpent. Kind of like the way these cards are configured here. Maybe these should kind of go more like that. And like that. These go down into a unity. These go up into a unity, right? And this is the quickness, really, with which all of this takes place. I think that this new opportunity, this new experience, whatever this, it's kind of a crisis, right? It's a period of initiation. It's a real threshold of a significant change for you. Okay. And I think that really there is this kind of anxiety brewing over it. There's this intense, and what I mean by anxiety is not worry, right? It's not that, oh, we're worried about what we should do or what's going to happen. No, this is the buildup of fiery energy that wants to act, that wants to move, that wants to get started with something. It's almost a little impatient, you know? And it's building up, it's building up, it's building up. Eventually it's going to have to be discharged, right? It's like you're powering up this battery, you're recharging this battery, that at some point it has to discharge that energy, okay? And I feel like that, that spiritual battery is really what is kind of propelling you through this, the path of the serpent, through what is still your immersion in the world, still your participation in the world, right? It's like this experience is going on in one level of your being, but we still exist here too, you know? And this is where we interface with, you know, our kind of external world, with our horizontal reality, right? This is your spiritual evolution. This is your spiritual progress here. How does that affect your earthly life, right? Well, first we've got the Nine of Cups. And this is you pursuing your happiness. So I think that your priorities are shifting. I think what you consider to be your happiness is shifting. I think what joy and pleasure mean to you is different. I think that the activities that you participate in, the work that you do, is going to have an underlying sense of joy and purpose and meaning and fulfillment. And if it doesn't, you're not going to do it. Okay? So you're beginning to really prioritize your happiness, your joy. Meanwhile, your happiness and your joy aren't what they used to be. You know, now you have these more lofty goals and ideals. Your sense of joy and purpose is something beyond what it was, right? So what you consider pleasure and joy and happiness is a lot different. That's shifting, okay? And then also, we see the Eight of Cups, the melancholy, the opposite of pursuing your happiness, not pursuing your happiness. Instead, experiencing sorrow and melancholy and a lack of heart and a loss of love and a loss of joy and happiness, right? It's kind of the anti-pursuing your happiness card. And this is the way we deal with stress, the way we deal with loss, the way we deal with negativity, negative feelings, negative emotions, the energy. This is how we deal with pain and sorrow. and loss and suffering and things that are less than ideal, right? The way you deal with these things is shifting. Your experience of these fluctuations of life, glass half full, glass half empty, someone knocked over our glass. Your experience, your reaction to those inconveniences, those pains, those troubles, those difficulties, that's changing, okay? Because of the spiritual evolution, this process of becoming, of no-mindedness, maybe it's kind of being unmindful in a way, right? It's changing how you experience joy and sorrow, pleasure and pain, and that duality, and your attempt to choose one over the other, right? We always try to choose the path of joy and pursuing our happiness, but we know that we're going to have, at some point in our life, we're going to have another Eight of Cups. That's just inevitable. It's how we react to that, how we might learn from that, how we might utilize that for whatever work that we're doing, and how we can try to be like water and adapt to whatever situation we find ourselves in, right? We've got a lot of fire energy, so you're really trying to, to pursue your will and do your work and lead yourself on your path. But you're always going to run into some kind of pitfall. There's always going to be some kind of calamity or danger or risk or sorrow or pain or loss or difficulty. But how we react to that, how we flow through that like water, is something that's going to be shifting for you. The next card is a Five of Wands that's in the position of what you don't want. So you may be shifting into this mode where you don't want conflict. You don't want the petty arguments. You've transcended this need to just bicker about things, right? For just people to always be, it's like we're crammed in so close together that we can't help but rubbing each other the wrong way. And there's friction and conflict and discord and disharmony, and there's fighting and arguing, and you're just beyond that. This is even kind of rising beyond the need for competition. Not that you won't compete, not if that's part of your plan, part of your path, then sure, but the unnecessary competition, the unnecessary conflicts and arguments and disagreements, and we just lost the overhead camera, but that's okay. You're rising above that. Your approach to friction and fighting and conflict is changing. It's shifting. And again, this doesn't mean that you're not going to assert yourself. It just means that the unnecessary competition now has really lost its flavor for you. It's something I think that we're rising above that. We're shifting out of the participation in this, or even our tolerance of this. Now the next card's kind of along the same lines. This is the Two of Wands. This is our approach to power. The need to be in charge, the need to be right, the need to be the leader, the need to have control. That's changing. Doesn't mean that you're not going to be a leader when you need to. Doesn't mean that you're not in control of your own life when you need to be. But this is a disengagement from these petty power struggles, a disengagement from this need to, for everyone to be right, for everyone to be in charge. Everyone wants to be the leader. No one wants to just work, right? You're disengaging from that. Your approach to power and authority is different, is changing. It's a real shift in you. I think your life, you really seem to be going through this experience here, and just looking at the way these cards are configured now, it's just, it seems like you're transcending your kind of old self. It's like you're coming you're molting, you're shedding your old skin. And different things about our fire, water energy is changing as we deal with these elemental things here. It's like we are really working on, perfecting these elements. And we're seeing how that's going to affect our daily lives, Let's look at the mystery card. I apologize for this being a little bit abstract or a little bit metaphysical or philosophical or mystical, magical, hocus pocus type stuff. But I feel like it really does have important implications for whatever type of things you do with your life, whatever your work is, whatever you have committed your time and energy to in your daily life. This spiritual stuff it affects that daily life, right? My cat is just giving us the confirmation card. He's trying to tell me what this card is, but I don't speak cat. I've been trying to learn, but it's very, very confusing language. Can't quite grasp the conjugation. Okay, mystery card. I don't know. Maybe some air energy. Considering the lack of air energy, the lack of mindfulness, maybe this is going to be kind of the input that we need now. This might be like, okay, we've prepared this, now we can have some of this air energy. Now it's okay for us to bring this the thought process back. Now that we've undergone this kind of transformation, maybe this is going to be the death card, just kind of showing an umbrella over all of this as a larger transformation in the grand scheme of things. The larger scope of your life, this is the big transformation. Let's just take a look at it. Well, this is the Eight of Cups. Again with the Eight of Cups. I think that's been a significant factor for you, because when we get a repeat card, it's just like this, it's like Spirit is saying, hey, look here again. Look here again. And what this could really be saying is that we've had this relationship with sorrow, pain, struggle, difficulty, loss of heart, loss of feeling of emptiness or longing or dissatisfaction. And maybe we've typically handled it in some different ways, maybe not the best of ways. Maybe we've just made a habit of walking away from those situations, from those feelings, maybe. Maybe we've just walked away from that. Maybe instead of walking away, we need to just experience it and feel it, like we said in the as we were talking about the first Eight of Cups. We need to allow that water to flow, and we need to feel that rather than trying to get away from the feeling. You just need to be okay with feeling shitty sometimes, It happens. This card could really be the idea that we're not walking away from those feelings, but what we're doing is we're setting out to do something about it. We're going to go find another cup, and we're going to come and we're going to bring it back. Right? So we get back to the Nine of Cups, right? We got 8. We're going to go find one more. We're not leaving you. I'll be back. I'm not running away from my feelings. I'm doing something proactive to rectify that. So I feel like the way that you deal with sorrow, with difficulty, with sadness is changing. Changing your tactics, changing your approach to a more enlightened, a more transcendent kind of way of dealing with things. Certainly not running away from difficulty or from our feelings, our negative emotions. We're going to feel it, we're going to allow it to wash over us with this Eight of Cups, and then we're going to do something proactive to get back to the Nine of Cups. This is where we want to be. This is what it's all about, I think. And I think that's why this is in your position of general energy. Because that's what this is all about, pursuing our happiness. Right? Getting out and living your best life. Because if you're not doing what makes you happy, if you're not at least trying to live your best life and trying to pursue happiness, what is it really for? You know? And it doesn't mean that we have to live selfish lives. Some of the greatest joy and happiness can be found in service of others. You know, but if we're stuck in this Eight of Cups, if we just lament what we do and where we live and who we're with and our work, and we're just down in this kind of swamp all the time, what is it all for? Right? I think this is the lesson. Anyway, we're going to do an extended. If you want to stick around, just click up there. Gemini, thank you so much for being here. Please hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing, but also sharing the video. I hear that really helps with the algorithm, and we're just about to hit 100,000 subscribers, so let's keep this momentum going. All right, I couldn't do this without all of you. You really are Dove and Serpent Tarot, and I thank you so much for letting me read for you.